What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Miguel. You're watching Miguel EDC, the channel where we talk everything EDC gear here. And today we're checking out that's right, you saw the title and thumbnail. We're checking out 5 different Rike/Ketuo knives that you should definitely know exist, all of which are pretty cool in their own right. And so we're gonna kick things off here with the Rike. All of these are premium knives, so they definitely come at a higher cost. Some of these are intended for a more knife enthusiast and collectors audience, not as much for, everyday, budget, hard use, hardcore sort of knife. And it, kind of makes sense based on the price, based on the materials you use. So do keep that in mind. Just because you're not a fan of a knife you may see here, it doesn't mean someone else out there might not actually end up liking it or loving it or wanting to pick it up for themselves or add it to their current knife collection. So we're gonna go ahead and start things off here with the Rike Cicada, right? This one, of course, there's a review on every single one of these knives, by the way, in the channel if you want to learn more details. But this one is a pretty cool, interesting design. It has the symmetry going on based on the actual cicada insect, right? And you can see the wings there, the eyes, which is very nice. And it is also very interesting from the standpoint that it is a integral, however you want to say it, piece of titanium going on. So that's very, very neat there, milled from a very single piece of titanium. So, the type of work, machining that went into making this knife was quite substantial, to say the least. And all the contouring, little touches, milling, and all the accents everywhere definitely makes it pop, makes it stand out. Love the gold accented eyes and wings there. That looks very nice. So as far as deployment goes, we have a button. So we could deploy one of two ways. We could push the button and then just go ahead and use the jimping here to do a top flipper. There's jimping from this end all the way to this end. So that just makes it very effortless. You just push the button and then just swing it on the way open right there like that. You could also use it as a button lock and use a flick of the wrist as a button, flick of the wrist as a deployment method as well. There's another way to deploy it, which is, requires a little bit more juice, a little bit more force, and that is to overcome the detent of the button lock on your own by giving it just a little bit more tension. You push down a little bit more with your index finger and then deploy it that way without even pushing the button. So I'll show you. I'm not even pushing the button here, and bam, right? Very, very cool deployment here. Only comes out of one side. It does have a chisel edge going on, so it's sharp on this side and not on the other side. So that's very neat. Also, only one side is sharpened. This one is not, right? Which is great because for a small EDC, right? If you want to rest for a small knife, if you want to rest your fingers, kind of get a good grip and rest your thumb on it, you can. So that's pretty interesting right there. I mean, overall, just a really cool knife, right? I go a lot in more detail during the review video. I think it looks pretty sick. I love everything about this knife. And again, it's not going to be your everyday carry per se, hard use, hard beat knife, but it definitely brings something unique to the table. M390 steel. This one is number 217 out of the production. It also works as a neck knife. So it comes in with a neck chain or a necklace that you can wrap around. Right, there's a loop hole for that, and you can also carry it as a neck piece if you wanted to as well. So very cool. That is the Rike Cicada. Interesting, and very unique design. These are in no particular order, by the way, but here is the Rike Alien one. And this one, just like the other one, is as bizarre and weird as you would imagine. This one is a razor blade style sort of knife. You can easily replace the blade on here. Just got to loosen up this screw right here and you'll be able to pull the blade out. And it does come with an additional serrated blade that you could use, right? One or the other. They are finished in a stone wash. They are M390 steel. As far as the rest of the knife, we got beautiful titanium, which is, again, very beautifully finished here. All the milling that goes into every single one of these lines, it's just epic, just really, really epic. You can do a standard grip here. You could forward choke if you wanted to in this area right there. It actually feels surprisingly really good on hand, to say the least. So very, very great for destroying cardboard, and also has that novelty factor that, in this day and age where razor blades, are kind of taking off as EDC items. or EDC knives, you can see a lot of companies have some sort of an razor blade variant in their lineup. This one is certainly unique in every possible way. It kind of reminds me of something out of Aliens versus Predator, a movie or something like that. Also love the anodized accents, right, on this black titanium. I do think there is a bee-blasted titanium going on as well, and it just looks just savage, right? The fact that you use the actual razor blade on this back portion as your flipper, that's pretty neat. The flipper goes through this section right here like that, and that works as your stop pin. It is a liner lock, right? Just an interesting knife all around. Check out the review on this one for more details. I go obviously a lot more in depth on that. Moving on, we got a Ketuo, and this one is the Ketuo Telson. This one has great action, great value for the money here, because you have pretty long cutting edge on this one. We have M390 on the steel, beautiful tumble finish going on. Sort of sheep's foot. If you call it reverse tanto, then you do you, right? But yeah, definitely very ergonomically friendly. And honestly, the fit and finish on this one is through the roof. For starters, we have a zirconium inlay going on here, right? And it goes on the other side as well. If you know anything about zirconium, you know it is typically found on more expensive knives, you know, close to 1,000 or more, typically custom knives and things like that. The fact that you can find it here on this knife from Ketuo/Rike is definitely very, very appealing. It does have titanium scales and titanium hardware. I also dig that pivot color quite a bit. It looks very, very nice. Kind of like that gear sort of design. It is a flipper open, has a little bit of a satisfying acoustics to it. Not a guillotine shot, but more of a satisfying smooth close, right? You kind of control it yourself all the way there, which is pretty neat. Frame lock, and again, you know, very, very interesting. Nicely done backspacer with some crown jimping there. Check out the lanyard solution here, looks pretty good. Right, pocket clip also looks nice, matches the same lines as the stress relief cutout. Check out the review on this one for more details. It's pretty good, great value for the money here, and actually makes a great EDC. So not only is it a premium piece, but it actually works for EDC use. Have a little bit of belly there, utilitarian tip there for draw cuts and utility cuts. You can get some work done with this guy in style without breaking the bank. So that is the Ketuo Telson. Moving on, the fourth knife is the Reich Lamela. That's right, the Reich Lamela. This one is quite interesting in so many ways. First of all, it is a Persian or trailing point sort of blade geometry. We have M390 going on here. Also a limited run. This one is 280, number 280. We got the model name right there with that beautiful calligraphy script, which is nice. As far as deployment options, we have the flipper deployment. We have thumb deployment with this thumb ramp or platform there. And we can reverse flick all day, every day with this one out of the fingernail in the middle finger like that. It works really good and it's very satisfying. It is on ball bearings and the drop shot action is so good. This one is definitely a guillotine shot for sure. And there's just enough weight on that blade to bring it down. Boom. Every single time. Liner lock on this one. What's unique about this one is it has this little switcheroo mechanism back here. You can, now it's locked, but if I push back on it, I unlock it, and then I can take off this sort of turtle shell, integral looking turtle shell, and it comes out like that in the most satisfying sound possible. Just like that. And that reveals all the hardware, right? So the hardware is otherwise tucked away, right, for a very clean, beautiful looking design, which this definitely provides right here. It looks very futuristic, very awesome. And then you can just put the whole thing back together right here, and it all goes back in place like that. And then you can lock it in place, right? So I believe this one is a revised version compared to maybe the original one didn't have this little switch in the back. Check out the review video on this one. I talk a little bit more about that, but yeah, ergonomically is pretty good. And you know, the only thing that I noticed was this little peaky section there. I talk a little bit more about that during the review. And you can forward choke on it there if you want to get more control of your cuts. So I mean, overall, just a savage looking futuristic looking knife in every possible way. The design overall is just beautiful. If you follow this line right here in the design, it sort of carries into this fuller. The difference between the tumble finish and the satin finish on the blade looks really good. That fuller also looks very nice. And you can deploy off of the fuller too if you want it. So that is definitely an option. So amazing, amazing knife. Last but not least, we have this, again, unique and interesting design going on this Rike knife. This is the Rike Cybertrix. Rike Cybertrix. What interesting knife we have here. So first things first, the designer on this one took inspiration from the Cybertruck. That's why it looks like the Cybertruck. That was completely intentional. And it's very geometrically, you know, oriented, all kinds of lines everywhere. I dare you to find a curve on this knife anywhere, if at all, if you can. But yeah, it's all lines everywhere. That's intentional. It is a liner lock, and you can deploy it with your thumb stud or thumb ramp, or reverse flick it if you want. Either way, both just equally as satisfying and very drop shotty. You have titanium on the scales. It does have liners, recessed liners on the inside. And you have a beautiful M390 blade going on here. This one's also a limited run. It is number 151 from that badge. And there is the Rike and the Lynx logo right there. That is the designer. So yeah, very interesting knife. Again, this is not going to be a knife. A lot of these knives in this list, you know, it definitely has a lot of cool points to add to the scale. But, you know, again, the whole point is not to, you know, pretend like these are the go-to do-all sort of knives. There's so many other knives at a different price point, much more affordable price that you can get. But these are just the unique ones, the ones that have that cool factor, that cool build quality, unique, interesting design. So for knife enthusiasts and collectors, I mean, these are some pretty awesome, rad, pretty cool looking knives, to say the least. So that is, if anything, Rike showing off, Rike and Ketuo, sister brands, showing off their capability to manufacture amazing knives with amazing materials with an overall outstanding overall quality and fit and finish and everything else in between. So let me run them back by you. Here is the Rike Cicada, right? This one comes in around $250 if it is available. All these knives, depending on when in the future you're watching this video, they may or may not be available. Next, the Rike Alien. This one comes in at $215, again, if available as well. The Ketuo Telson comes in at $250, right? Pretty good, reasonable price as well. And the last two do kind of scale up price-wise, right? This one comes in at $355, the Lamella. And again, I go a lot more in detail during the review as to, you know, the price and how that price is justified and whether or not it's justified. But again, you know, if you don't think this knife is for you, that is okay, because there's someone out there who this knife is for. And so that's the reason why they made it, the reason why these are selling, and the reason why they're going to be out of stock and not coming back in the future. So lastly, here is the Cybertrix, right? Cybertrix comes in at $399, just $1 under $400. So it definitely scales up pretty good. But it's also a reflection of all the amount of work, machining, design, everything else that went into making these knives. And again, you can buy so many other budget knives for the price of one of these and have a whole week's rotation if you wanted to. Now, the only reason you buy knives like these is you already have a collection going on. You're already sort of bored of all the utilitarian knives out there. You're looking for something different, something out of the ordinary, something that scratches that itch, unlike anything else in your knife collection does. Again, mainly for knife enthusiasts and collectors as a whole. So hopefully you guys got some enjoyment out of this video. If you're interested in picking one of these up and they're still available, best of luck to you. Again, those links are in the description and in the pinned comments. It does help out the channel when you use those links, but that is entirely up to you. I mean, if anything, the main purpose of this video that I wanted to highlight is that, you know, knives can be a pretty cool thing, right? If you've taken anything away from this channel or many other knife channels, is the fact that we love knives. We like that companies are innovating with their knives, always coming up with new cool designs. If companies weren't being pinned against each other in competition, trying to innovate trying to come up with new things, trying to think outside the box. And we will all have the same, as Metal Complex will say, the same open nails, the same Buck 110s, and the same Rat Model 1s, right? So the fact that, you know, companies are out there experimenting, engineering, thinking outside the box, trying to revolutionize this idea of what a knife is and what it can do and what it can look like and how it can be made and how it can be made and what it can be made out of, right? All of these questions are super, super crucial when, you know, thinking, you know, as far as the knife industry. So I'm glad to be part of this community. Hopefully you guys got value out of this video. If anything, for entertainment purposes, smash that like button for me. And if you like knife and EDC content like this on a daily basis, definitely subscribe to the channel. I promise you, it'll be worth coming back for more. You can support the channel right here on YouTube by becoming a channel member. Otherwise, I have a Patreon link in the description. I'm going to put 2 videos on the screen for you. So one that I like on the right here, one that YouTube recommends on the left right there. Guys, if you made it to this point, you are the real MVP. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you on the next video, either this one or this one. Peace.